Hello guys, my name's Tony. Welcome to episode 3 of Trim My Reg. If you are just joining us, we're working on M3 coupe seats. In this video, we will be showing you how to stitch the seat covers together. In our last video, we showed you how to mark out and cut out the leather for the covers. If you have not already done this step, then the link to the video is in the description below. Here we are using a high-grade material called Dipro. We use this to make the hollow tapes that will support the wires needed to attach the new cover to the seat cushions. You can buy these tapes ready-made. We make our own, giving us the luxury of making any size we need depending on the depth in our seat cushions. Usually about 2 inches wide, then folded in half and stitched along one side, giving you a hollow tape. We use a light tack spray adhesive to attach the tapes to our covers, so to hold them in place while we stitch covers together. You don't need to tack in place, you can add tapes as you stitch along, or add another stitch after for your tape. We find tacking in place preferable, as you can complete the job in one seam. Now for the assembling of the headrests. We need to attach the sides to the main body of the headrests. We fold a 1/2 inch flap of the main body and then start sewing in the centre of the bottom of the side, using the corresponding marks of each piece to line up as we stitch. We are stitching this interior using a Singer post machine, at least 40 to 50 years old. These machines were designed for stitching shoes and boots together. If you grew up using these machines, you would not use any other. They are very versatile, and if you know how to use them, there isn't anything you cannot make. Follow us to find out. Most car upholsterers, you will find, only use walk-in foot machines. These are very good, obviously. You guys will probably be using one, as it's unlikely that you will have a 50-year-old Singer knocking around. As we have the headrests in this position, we take the opportunity to cut the bottom flap a 1/4 inch on the 4 edges, allowing us later on to hot glue the plastic strips on that we removed from the old cloth headrests in our first video. We stitch the headrest sides in their original size, i.e. with a flap around the edge. For our purpose, this flap we then trim off, so as to allow easy stitching of the top stitch, which will be the M3 colours. The headrest sides will still be a very strong seam, because as we stitch the top stitch there will be a 13mm herringbone webbing on the underside. Essentially, this can now be a complete headrest, but for our M3 seats, we need to take it a step further by adding the M3 colours as top stitch. On this twin needle post machine, we will be stitching 2 of the M3 colours. This machine, just like our single post machine, is many years old, but if looked after, will be a useful tool for many years more. Our third M3 colour stitch will be carefully done by hand. We are assembling the front seat knee support, which is made up of 4 pieces. The knee roll consists of a main body with 2 sides and a flap very similar to the headrests. This piece is the flap which attaches the knee roll support to the main seating cover. We fold over each end 1/4 inch in and then top stitch, then fold it in half lengthways and do 1 seam on the underside. This flap then needs to be attached to the knee roll with a very fine top stitch. To create this, you need to place the flap good side leather to leather and attach it with 1 seam, then fold the flap over. And seam a very neat top stitched finished seam. This is where the post machine comes into its own. Now I am just stitching the sides on to the main body of the knee roll, just as we did with the headrests. We now have a finished knee roll, which is ready to be attached to the main seating cover. We are stitching the top stitch of the seating panels. These comprise of a twin row of stitching, in this case using the same colour thread as the leather. These rows of stitching serve as a decorative design, but also to hold the hollow tapes on the underside which attach the covers to the relevant tug points, creating the shape of the seat. Now we are attaching the knee roll we made earlier using the flap which will bridge the 2 pieces. Just as on the knee roll, we place the flap good leather to leather and attach with 1 seam. Then fold over and run a neat top stitch. The 2 top stitches on the flap will be visible when the knee roll is extended, so they need to be perfect. The next thing to do on the base seat cover is to fold over the 2 front corners on the reverse side and run a stitch each side, locking them together. Then turn over and pop them both out. The only thing left to do now on the seat covers is to attach the knee roll plastic strips. These are a U-shaped rigid plastic that allow you to fasten them to the knee roll metal frame. We took these from the old cloth covers when we stripped them down. At each side of the frame there are 2 spikes which you hook the leather side pieces to once you have carefully fitted the knee roll cushion inside. Here we are getting the side bolster ready. As with the front seat base, fold the corner over on the reverse side and run a seam, locking them together, then turn over and pop it out. Then from top to bottom fold over 1 inch and run a seam, creating a hollow tube, so enabling you later to pass a wire through for the purpose of hog rigging to the bolster frame evenly. Here we attach the face bolsters to the side bolsters by stitching just over 1/4 inch in. This flap later I trim off as with the headrest sides to allow us easy twin row stitching. I leave the flap on the pattern as this is the original size of the seat panel size. Also, if this interior was customised with a different colour piping as opposed to the M3 colours, we would sandwich the piping in between the two pieces of leather as we join them together, and in this case would leave the flap on. But as we are doing M3 colour stitching, we will be trimming it off. Here is the lower base bolster. Assembly is essentially the same procedure as the upper bolster. Here we are getting the front seat backrest ready to add the M3 stripes. Twin rows of top stitching were done earlier, the same procedure as the front base seating cover. On the leather, we carefully mark out the dimensions for our stripes to be attached to the cover. I'm using a hardboard template of the stripes and using a Stanley knife to cut out the length needed. For the stripes we are using 3 different coloured leather pieces. The dark blue and the red are real cowhide. The light blue is a synthetic leather. This was the best colour match available at the time. Then we stitch the pieces together in order. First the red, second the dark blue, then the light blue. Then to complete the section we use a large corner piece of the same colour leather as the cover will be. This is needed so as to allow the coloured stripes to seam as one with the rest of the covers. Then we lay the stripes on the markings, leather to leather, and seam along the edge of the red piece. Then fold over to reveal the 3 colours and the grey leather corner piece that matches the cover, and then seam around the 2 edges to secure the stripes on. At the bottom of the cover we stitch on a U-shaped plastic strip. This will allow us to attach the cover neatly onto the frame. Then we attach the upper panel to the bottom piece, sandwiching the stripes in place, which now completes the backrest cover, and it is now ready for fitting. So now assembling the back seat backrest bolsters. This seat is made up of 3 bolsters. Each side is made up of 3 pieces of leather, 2 face pieces and 1 side piece. The centre hump is made up of 1 large middle section with 2 left and right pieces. The only difference with the bolster pieces is the 2 end ones. They have a folded over section which will hold a wire to enable neatly attaching the cover. So all the bolsters of the back seats are assembled in the same way. Now to assemble the seating parts of the backrests, remembering to mark out a section for attaching the M3 stripes before connecting all the pieces together. The seating sections can be made up of 1 complete piece of leather, but they are made separately to allow M3 stripes to be inserted. Now to assemble the back seat base. This is made up of 3 sections on each side, one rear piece, one centre piece, and at the front the knee support. We connect each piece together and at the same time seam the hollow tape in position that we need to hold a wire in place to help fit in correctly later. Before attaching the knee support piece, you will need to seam together 4 corners so as to fit correctly onto the base seating foam. Before completing the base cover, just check the knee support fits nicely on the base. Here we are stitching the 2-colour top stitch to all the bolsters, and as we go along we attach a spindle webbing to the underside of the seam to add strength. Here is the completed M3 colour stitching. The 3rd stitch we do this by hand, criss-crossing as you go along, missing 2 stitches out on each side, all the way to the end of each piece. As this is very time consuming, we send this out to a specialist seamstress. Now I'm going to be stitching the bolsters on the backrest. I seam the bolster on first and then do another seam next to the first to attach a hollow tape. Now I'm attaching the centre hump bolster, again using one seam and then a separate one to attach the tape. And then I attach the other end bolster using one seam and again a separate seam for the tape. I stitch next to the first so as not to perforate it, therefore avoiding weakening the seams. You can stitch the bolsters together simultaneously, adding the tape. I find it helpful adding it separately. Trim off about 2 inches in off the flat so as to keep the hollow inside when folded over. Now that the cover is all together, we need to fold over the leather on the top and the bottom and stitch it down, therefore creating a hollow in the leather just like the tape, so we are able to pass a wire through to help fit in neatly to the foam back. And here we have a complete back seat back leather cover ready to be fitted. This cover in its loose stage may look wrinkly, but when fitted everything will smooth out. And now we are putting together the back seat base, following the same procedure as the backrest. And here is the finished back seat base. And here is the completed M3 leather kit, consisting of 18 separate pieces, all now ready to be fitted to their respective frames. So that's it for this video. In the next video, we will be showing you how to fit the covers. If you've enjoyed this video, then please subscribe for more content.